Critics had completely written Charlie Woods off before the opening drive was even struck. Picture the moment. The son of the greatest golfer of all time standing on the back nine, trailing by 5 strokes. And not against just anyone. He was up against Miles Russell, the most dominant junior golfer on the planet, a 14-year-old prodigy who had already done the unthinkable on a professional stage. But the scoreboard only told part of the story, away from the cameras. Charlie was battling physical injuries that would have pushed almost any other competitor to withdraw. The experts did not just favor Miles Russell. They openly laughed at the idea that Tiger Woods' son could mount any kind of comeback. Even within Charlie's own circle, there were quiet conversations about damage control. But champions do not process doubt the way normal people do. What unfolded over those final 9 holes shattered logic and flipped every expert opinion on its head. And by the time they reached the 18th, Charlie did something truly staggering. If you want to witness one of the most unbelievable comebacks in junior golf history and understand the spark that separated a good athlete from something greater, pay close attention. This was the moment Charlie Woods stopped being Tiger's son and became a force of nature. To understand the weight of what happened, you need the full context. This was not a casual weekend event at a local course. This was a qualifier for the U.S. Junior Amateur Championship. In competitive golf, this tournament is a proving ground. A strong performance here opens doors to the highest levels of the sport. Look around the course, and you could see college scouts from nearly every major program, taking notes that would shape scholarships worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Professional agents blended into the crowd, searching for a teenager with a mindset for the PGA Tour. And standing above them all was Miles Russell. He arrived as the overwhelming favorite for good reason. At just 14 years old, he had already made history as the youngest player to ever make the cut on the Korn Ferry Tour. Let that sink in. While most kids his age were focused on homework and exams, Miles was outplaying grown men with decades of experience and everything on the line. He was not just competing. He was dominating. On the other side was Charlie Woods, carrying a last name that opens doors but also places the heaviest weight imaginable on a young athlete's shoulders. Every shot is compared to his father's 15 major championships. Every missed putt becomes a judgment on whether the Woods' legacy still has life. The pressure is not simply to win. It is to be worthy of the name. What most people watching did not know was that Charlie was already compromised before the first tee shot. A lingering wrist injury flared up during warm-ups. In golf, wrist pain is devastating. Your grip weakens, your swing changes, and your hands stop responding to your mind. His team seriously debated pulling him from the event, urging him to rest and try again another day. But Charlie had a look in his eyes that golf fans had seen before. It was the same edge Tiger Woods showed in 2008 when he won the U.S. Open on a broken leg. The Woods family does not quit. It never has. The opening half of the round was painful to watch if you were rooting for Charlie. He was not playing badly at all. Miles Russell was simply operating at a different level. Birdies on holes 2, 4, and 7, followed by a huge eagle on the par 5-6, sent a crowd into a frenzy. By the turn, Miles held a 5-stroke lead. In this format, 5 shots down with 9 holes left feels insurmountable. The numbers suggest you would need to be noticeably better on every remaining hole just to force a tie. The broadcast team had already begun shifting the narrative, praising Charlie's effort while preparing to crown Miles. One analyst summed it up with a line that spread quickly online. Charlie is very good, but Miles is elite. At that moment, the story seemed finished. Then everything changed on the 10th tee. Charlie's caddy would later describe it as a switch being flipped. The injury was still there. The score had not improved. But Charlie's mindset shifted from survival to attack. Hole 10 is a par 4 where most players in his position would choose safety and hope for small gains. Charlie did the opposite. He pulled driver and took an aggressive line over a bunker most players avoid entirely. He hit a perfect draw, setting up a short wedge, and poured in the 8-foot birdie putt. The deficit dropped to 4. On the par 3 11th, with water guarding the flag, Miles played to the center of the green. Charlie aimed straight at the pin, stuck it to 6 feet, and made the putt. Now it was 3. The air changed. This was no longer just about numbers on a card. Charlie was hunting. At the par 5 12th, Miles crushed his drive, but pressure began to creep into his rhythm. His second shot slipped off the green. Charlie, limited by his wrist and unable to match Miles' raw power, chose a 3-wood for his second and flushed it to 12 feet. When Charlie rolled in the eagle putt and Miles missed his birdie, the lead was suddenly down to 1. You could see it on Miles' face. He was not falling apart, but the tempo of his play quickened, a classic sign of stress. The psychological edge had shifted. Charlie had taken control of the narrative. After a 10 stretch of pars on 13, 14, and 15, they arrived at the par 3 16th, a hole known for breaking hearts. Miles played it safe, finding the green with a lengthy birdie chance. Charlie refused to settle. Once again, he fired directly at the pin. The ball stopped 8 feet away. Charlie made the putt. Miles did not. Just like that, the match was tied. A 5-shot lead had vanished in under an hour, and the golf world was stunned. Miles Russell looked rattled, not because he was playing poorly, but because a familiar shadow was closing in. Both players made par on the 17th, setting the stage for the 18th, a demanding 425-yard par 4 with water lining the entire left side. Miles chose the smart play, finding the fairway and positioning himself for a safe approach and a likely playoff. It was the correct decision. Charlie Woods had no interest in playing extra holes. On the tee, he took the most aggressive line imaginable, launching his drive straight over the water to cut the corner. The risk left the crowd silent. 2 yards left, and the ball is gone. But it stayed true, leaving him just 95 yards in. Miles hit a solid approach to 25 feet. Then Charlie stepped in with a wedge and delivered a shot that never left a flag. It stopped 4 feet from the hole. The crowd did not cheer. They erupted. Miles missed his long birdie try. Charlie walked up to his putt without hesitation and rolled it straight into the center of the cup, completing a victory from 5 shots down on the final hole. Charlie Woods had done it. He showed that his last name is not a burden, but a standard. Miles Russell handled the loss with remarkable class, but this day belonged to the player who refused to accept defeat. Charlie proved that champions do not simply play within the game. They reshape it. He embodied his father's most famous lesson. That pressure is a privilege and impossible is often just an opinion. Looking ahead to 2026, one thing feels clear. The Woods era is far from over. It may just be getting started. What do you think? Is Charlie Woods on a path to surpass Miles Russell at the professional level, or was this a single moment of brilliance? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, like the video, subscribe to Neon Golf, and join us for the next story.